Hey there, lovelies. Guess what? It's Monday and it's time for us to make Cornish hens. I'm hoping you had an opportunity to pick up the ingredients. I gave you a shopping list the last time we came together about a week ago. And so I've gone ahead and I've started cooking the Cornish hen so that we can get through this recipe pretty quickly. So what I did was I bought a Cornish hen. And what you're going to do is you're going to take a knife, and a very sharp knife, and go right down the center of that breastbone of the Cornish hen. And you're going to open it up, and then you're going to take the same sharp knife and you're going to take that backbone out. So what you'll wind up with are two pieces of Cornish hen. Now if you're going to do a larger recipe, for instance, if you need maybe your 4 or 5 or 6 people in your family, remember the last time I shared with you that you need to figure on a half Cornish hen for each person. Unless it's a child, then you can do a quarter Cornish hen. So I've gone ahead and I've started to sear this off. And I'm going to move the camera so you'll be able to see a little bit closer what it is we're doing. So you can see that Cornish hen is searing off. And again, I went ahead and got it started, but it's a beautiful, beautiful bird. I love the fact that it's nice and lean and you don't have to worry about all of the extra fat because we want flavor. We don't want anything that's not good for you. So while that's searing, let me just share with you what I put on the Cornish hen to season it. So I started out with some sea salt. I also did a very coarse black pepper, and you can just use your grinder and put this together however you like, depending on whether you like a coarse ground or if you want a regular ground. And although we have fresh garlic in the recipe, I also use a granulated garlic because I'm looking for lots and lots of flavor. And the next ingredients are your basil, oregano, and thyme, and they're dried. And you can mix them all together. And again, I season them off before I put them in the pan. And the last ingredient that we're going to also use in the recipe are your bay leaves. And depending on, again, how many you're using, you may want to use a bay leaf per Cornish hen, and making it a maximum of, say, 3. You don't want to go more than it because these are very, very strong. So you coat the bottom of your, I'm using a cast iron pan, coat the bottom of your skillet with some olive oil. And then you're going to sear those off. And again, I've already gone ahead and gotten this started. So these are browned pretty much. I'm going to stay there just a little bit longer. And put just enough olive oil in the bottom of your pan to coat it. You don't want to, you're not deep frying anything. We're just coating it enough just to keep it from sticking and to be able to brown off the Cornish hen. So once that's done, you can see these are nicely seared. See that? We're going to take these and just rest them on a plate until you're ready to add them back to the pan. So I have a combination of yellow onion, and again I talked to you about using this sweet variety, so we're going to take the yellow onion and add to the pan. And I consider myself to be a very efficient cook, so I don't, you could always do these separately, but I'm all about getting in the kitchen, getting it done, and getting on with other things like sitting down and enjoying dinner with your family. So we're going to add our celery. Let me get the rest of those, that onion and chopped garlic in there. And I normally start it off, kind of dill those sections, if you will. And we're also going to need just a little bit more olive oil. Now you don't want too much oil in your pan, but again, add just enough so that it doesn't stick. So we have our onion, our yellow onion, and now we're going to add, you know what, I love when I use my hands because I get the control where everything goes. So we're going to take our hands and just put those beautiful mushrooms in there. And these are portobello mushrooms. You can also use the white mushrooms if you prefer those. I personally like the portobello because they are very flavorful. And another reason why I personally like them is I don't eat poultry, and this is like my meat substitute, if you will, because they're very, very flavorful. So I'm going to add my carrots. Now these are whole carrots, the regular sized carrots. These are not baby carrots. And I'd like to suggest that you use these instead of the ones that you use for entertaining, you know, for dipping in and whatever dip when you're sitting and watching television. I use the whole carrots instead. So you're going to take these and you're going to spend a little bit of time and begin to saute these off. We're going to turn this fire down just a little bit so that we give these time to cook off. And as it begins to cook off, and the reason why I don't mix them immediately is because some of the vegetables have lots of water in them, and you want some of that water to cook off because, you know, again, you want to make sure that you are sauteing the vegetables and not boiling them. The mushrooms have lots of water in them, so I gradually mix these together as the water cooks off. You can see how I'm taking this and I'm turning it up, if you can see that. And again, depending on how much water the vegetable has in them, you may have to add just I'm going to add a little bit more olive oil. And again, not too much, just a touch to make sure that the vegetables don't stick and you get a nice saute. So we're going to keep tossing these so you get a nice saute. See, you don't have any water in the bottom of that. And the reason, again, is that I allowed a good bit of the water to cook off with the portobello mushrooms before I started to mix them. And once you cook these off, what you're going to do is add your bay leaves. So you take, I'm going to add 2 bay leaves to this mixture. See how easy that is? And then the Cornish hens that you seared off before, you're going to take those and you're going to take them and move them around a little bit so you can fit them into your pan. And at this point, you're going to add your wine. So you pour some white wine over the top of this. And that's going to give it some wonderful flavor. Now, one of the things I did not mention is that I like this dish, and you can create basically the same dish if you are looking to do a vegetarian version. And it's really, really good. And I will typically serve this with some homemade applesauce. It just really balances things off really well. But this is your entire meal here. You have your vegetables, you have your meat, and your chicken. And if you want to add something else, I will typically do an applesauce and add a little bit of hot pepper sauce to season it up once you're done. And at this point, I will then stick this into the oven. Let me turn this fire off. And here is what the Cornish hen looks like once it's done. See how pretty that is? Very, very nice. And what I will typically do at this point is I will then take this and take the Cornish hens out of the pan. I went ahead and made this ahead of time. That way you had an idea of what the finished product looks like. And you take those beautiful vegetables and you put them around the Cornish hens. See how pretty that is? And you know, a lot of parents say that their kids don't like vegetables. But I've had this recipe for years, and when my children were small, they absolutely loved it. And The idea is to make sure you get lots of flavor in what it is you're cooking. Because when you add that flavor in, people forget about the fact that they're eating vegetables, and all they know is they have something real good sitting in front of them. And this is your finished dish. Take a little bit of that off. And that's dinner. Isn't that beautiful? Absolutely one of the easiest recipes you can make, and you put this in front of your family, they're going to think, oh wow, mom or dad, whoever it is cooking, is such a good cook. And that's your finished Cornish hen, and we're all done. And so next week, I want you to make sure you tune in for my announcement later on in the week, where I'm going to give you the recipe that we're going to make for next Monday. And it'll probably be fish, or it might be vegetarian. I'm not real sure. I'll see where my inspiration leads me. And I want you guys to be patient with me as I get this down to an exact science, because this is new territory for me. I've been in front of the television camera for years, but someone else was always taping, and I was never, you know, in this kind of situation before. But you know what, I'm having fun doing it. I love the camera. I don't have a problem with that. It's just trying to figure out some of the logistics and the best approach to bringing this to you so that you get the most benefit out of it. And I want to thank you guys again for being so supportive of my efforts and following along while I refine this. Remember, you can pick up my cookbook. It's already available for pre-order on Amazon, and the name of the cookbook again is Farm Girl in the City of Food and Love. You can also follow me on Twitter at Bonnie McGood, as well as Instagram. And that's probably going to do it for today. And again, thank you so much. I really appreciate your support and everything that you do to love up on me. And I will see you next Monday, God willing. Actually, before then, when I look for the recipe, or rather the shopping list for next week's recipe, so that we will spend some fruitful time in the kitchen next Monday. Have a great week. I hope all of your dreams come true, at least some of them. And I will see you soon. Thank you so much, and God bless. Bye.